any kind of like herbs or whatever. Stop. Hi everybody, it's me, Akasha Wolf, and today I decided that I was going to do a Ouija board questions and answers. I promised this video like a long time ago. These questions have been asked by you guys, and some of these questions are like literally 2 years old, because that's how long ago my video was. It was like such a long time ago. Alright, so I'm going to try to make this pretty quick because I know all my questions and answers videos are very, very long. Alright, first question. So underneath, of course, I'm going to have the user name of who posted the question, and I will also include the question so you guys will be able to see it. And down below in the description, I will have different times for the different questions, so you can click on the time and it will take you directly to the spot in the video where that question was answered. What can you leave as a gift, and could you tell us an opening and closing prayer? So when it comes to leaving a gift or an offering, you can leave just about anything. You can leave like change, pennies, like dimes, whatever is like your currency or whatever, like money for the most part. You can leave some money behind. Try to keep it at like change instead of like dollar bills and whatnot, because someone's just going to run off with that anyway. With a coin or whatever, you can bury it into the dirt. You can leave gemstones. If you want, you can leave like a little charm or something. Even incense. You can leave like stuff like that. It doesn't have to be something really big and crazy to be left behind. For an opening and closing prayer, I usually just go by what I feel for the most part. The number one thing that I make very known is that I only want to make contact with light or spirits of light, or spirits or ghosts of a higher energy level, more positive, and I make sure that I make that really well known. Just keep on stating for the most part, make sure it's from light or from a higher vibration. And also that all answers be truthful. And it's really difficult because sometimes things like to push through here and there that aren't of the highest energy, and they like to lie to us. And even good spirits like to lie because like they think it's funny. You know, they might pretend that they're God or whatever to get a kick out of it, to see you freak out and stuff like that. Closing prayer. Usually at the beginning of the board, people like to go in a circle in a clockwise. Like you do like 3 circles clockwise to open, and then you go counterclockwise to close whenever you're done. And you always go to goodbye, so that way you close the door. But as for closing, just be like, I'm closing this session. Thank you for being here and answering your questions, etc. And just like leave a gift behind. And usually that helps big time. Every time I've done that, I've never had issues with anything following me. A lot of times I will do the board or whatever outside of my home, and like maybe once or twice I've ever done it in my home. But if you guys would like a prayer or whatever, please let me know in the comments below and I'll try to post it up somewhere. How do you cleanse your space? When it comes to cleansing your space, this kind of depends on what you see as a way of clearing your space. Like some of us like to use holy water, some of us like to use salt water, moon water, or sage. There's even incense like frankincense and myrrh, and there's even sandalwood. And for me, I enjoy sage, like salt water, holy water, or dragon's blood. And usually what I do is I do like a regular like smudging or whatever. And you know, I always say, you know, nothing of lower energy is allowed in my home or in my space. Only good energies may be here and stuff like that. Nothing that means to harm me or my family is allowed in this space. And when you do cleansings, just make sure that you put your intention out there and you say stuff. You don't have to have like a little rhyme all set up and together for this. You can use like regular prayers, like the prayer of St. Michael, any like prayer that you might have. Even if you have a prayer in a Bible that makes you feel comfortable, use that as well. But if you guys want to know anything on cleansing, I do have like a smudging video that is pretty detailed. I believe that should be able to help you cleanse your space before and even after you do a Ouija board session. Can you make your own Ouija board? Yes, you can. And my first time using the board, I actually made it myself. I just got a regular piece of paper and I put letters on it, and I got, I believe, a quarter. And me and whoever I was with put their finger on there and it would move to those letters. The board will work, like if it's homemade or if it's bought, it'll work the same, and usually they both work. So yes, you can make your own. How do you keep spirits you aren't wanting to attract from talking to you? So this again kind of brings us to, in the beginning when you do an opening prayer, make sure that you say that you only want to talk to spirits or ghosts from light and of a higher vibration. Higher vibration is, better, good, brighter, more positive energy. Lower vibration is, a little bit darker, low energy, not so good. If they're low energy, they're going to want to take your energy. In order to keep them out, do that or cleanse your space. You can smudge the space before you begin. Have you ever heard of the demon called Zozo? Tell me more. I have heard about this demon multiple times, mainly through YouTube. I don't know how many of those videos are actually real, so it's kind of difficult to be like, oh yeah, he's everywhere. From all the times that I have actually used the board, I have never encountered this demon. And something that I believe about it is that, like, from multiple people playing and possibly one person making this up in like a video could have actually started this. I think that this is an entity that was created by people. I believe that everyone believed that it was real and actually created it into an entity. And it's crazy because I had felt this and believed this about this demon. And there is an actual expert in boards that said almost the exact same thing, and they probably explained it a lot better. But from the expert and how I feel and how I dealt with the board, I think that this is an entity that's been created by people. So I think that it gets as much power as you give it. So if you fear it and you expect it to be so powerful, then it's going to affect you and have more power over you. I've heard that asking, "Is anybody there?" or something similar can bring spirits. Is that true? Or no, bring bad spirits, my bad. I think like yes and no. If you started where you only want positive things to come in, then I don't really think so. I have done that before as well, and I haven't encountered anything negative on the board. But to be safe, like for you who has asked the question, if you kind of have that fear because of what you read, then don't ask that question. Like, try to make sure that you keep it all positive. Whatever you don't feel comfortable with, don't ask it. If you hear one thing and that's stuck in your head, don't do what the one thing said for you not to do. I don't think so. In a way, I can kind of see how that would bring in bad spirits because you're not being direct. You're not saying, is it a good spirit present or something like that. But even that might provoke something, so it's a little iffy. I think as long as you do the prayer ahead of time, then you should be fine and you wouldn't have to worry about that. Alright, can people get possessed from using the board? So again, YouTube videos, you see a lot of YouTube videos of people using the board and getting possessed. Some people believe that these videos are fake and that they are just faking the whole thing, or people are just acting and just purposely making the videos to scare people. I think it's possible, and I think it's possible for those who are like mediums or who are like leaving themselves way too open. When you get involved in like using the board and it's like your first time doing it, or you didn't think it would work and it actually does work, some of us get too excited and then we start to just let go and drop all of our walls. And when you do that, then you're allowing something to enter because you're just being way too open and you're just putting your guard down because of you're so excited. So when you're actually doing the board, try to picture yourself surrounded by a ball of lights, like you're in an egg for the most part. So picture yourself in like this glowing egg that nothing can penetrate. And if that doesn't work for you, then try picturing like a mirror all around you, so that way if an entity was looking at you for the most part, they would just be looking at themselves, so they wouldn't move any further. These are some different little visualizations that you can do to keep it from entering your body. So this one's a long one, so I'm gonna have to look at this. So how should I go about doing the prayer discreetly? Also, since the wall between worlds is thinnest, sorry my writing's really bad, on Halloween, would it be smart to contact spirits on that night? Doing the prayer discreetly, I don't think you would want to do. I kind of feel that it makes it more powerful. So I don't think you would want to do it discreetly at all. Unless like you're doing this behind your parents' back, or you're not supposed to be doing it in the house, at a friend's house or a roommate's place. That's probably why you would do it discreetly than just whisper. But for the most part, you don't want to do it discreetly. You need to like let everything in this area know that they're not supposed to enter. If not, and you just want to do it discreetly, like visualize and say the words in your head. As for doing it on Halloween when the wall is thinnest, if you are very traditional and you like set the table for the dead, like your past family members, then you might have the luck of talking to a family member. But at the same time, since the wall is thinnest, that means more things can come through, good or bad. So that means you have a higher chance of something negative coming through. And I myself have not done the board on Halloween, so I could be wrong, but this is kind of how I picture what would go. I would think that like more than one thing can come through. And like darker things, they can like read your thoughts and stuff like that, and they can actually pretend to be family members, so you do have to be very careful. When it comes to using the board, I don't necessarily recommend it to try to contact family members, because it's really easy for something dark to play off of that in order to get closer to you. Because sometimes there's someone we really want to talk to that we've missed so much that once you start hearing things that are something they would only know, you begin to open up a lot more, and then that makes you more vulnerable. So you need to, like, being open is not a bad thing, but not having like your guard up a little bit or like at a healthy level is not good. So when it comes to family members and contacting them, it can make us very vulnerable. How would we know when the board is working, and how will we know when we have encountered a demon or a good spirit, because demons can be tricky? That's funny because I was just talking about this. How do you know if the board is working? Well, usually the planchette moves. But sometimes you've opened the door and there's still something there, but he just ain't saying nothing. And the thing is though, when that happens, if you don't get anything that happens, still do the closing prayer. Make sure you do the closing prayer. Make sure you do the reverse circles and stuff to close what you have opened all the time. Even if there's no movement, make sure you do that, because if you don't, you're going to leave the door open, and whatever was just sitting there watching is going to sit there and wait for you guys to walk away and be like, ah, nothing happened. And then they're going to start poking at you and messing with you. So make sure you always close the door. As for knowing if it's a good or bad spirit, usually you can kind of feel those kinds of things. If it's something that's bad, it can't keep its act up the whole time. It will slip, and you'll catch it. You just have to pay attention and make sure you keep your guard up. What kind of board would you recommend for a beginner in the craft? For a beginner in the craft, would you recommend a board at all? So if you're a beginner in the craft, I would not recommend a Ouija board for you. The reason for that is you're a beginner, you're just starting to learn about energy, balancing yourself, and feeling energy, and actually having control over it. As a beginner, I hope like one of your first things to learn is protection, because you are putting out energy that sometimes other things will like see and will want to have a part of that, because you start to bring your level up really high and you put off a high vibration. Your light is brighter, so then those who are in the dark will see your light. I think that you shouldn't have a board if you're a beginner. Make sure you get more knowledge and protection and energy, and understand the feeling and difference between positive and negative energy before you get involved with the boards. And make sure you are a beast at smudging, because smudging is very important with the board. The board is not a toy. It's not something that you can, like, you have to avoid, but as a beginner, I would not recommend it. When do you need to use the Ouija board? Like, what situation do you need this board? For me, I don't use the board necessarily because I need it. There are practitioners out there who use the board and ask, is this the right time to cast this spell? Is this the right time for me to do this? Some people use it like a divination tool. For me, I have not used it in that way to where I necessarily need it for something. If I really need something or I need some information on whatever, I usually just look to my cards, or maybe like dowsing rods or something like that. But I don't see how someone would necessarily need it. But there are practitioners out there who do use it in a way for like needing for certain situations. And I'm not like one of those practitioners though, so I don't have the best answer for that. Sorry. What if you don't have any bad thoughts and you cleanse your room and you have something bad still come through? Then what do you do? Have you ever contacted anything other than a spirit? It's possible, it happens, but that's why like you do that afterwards too as well. You don't have to, but I recommend it just so that it's like an extra bam. If that happens and something bad comes through and you know it's bad, then leave the session and try to do it another time. But when I mean leave the session, I mean like, you know, close the door and everything. Tell it it's not welcome, and, you know, cleanse your space. There was the last part, it says, have you ever contacted anything other than a spirit? I don't know if you mean like demons or angels or fairies. To my knowledge, on what I've talked to, no, I don't think I've talked to anything else. I'm pretty sure that so far I've talked to spirits. I've talked to like a little girl, like a guy, and even like this one time there was like a couple, they're all there at once and stuff like that. But I don't believe I've contacted anything else. Do you think the store-bought Ouija board works better or worse than a homemade one? They work the same. If anything, I think some of the store-bought ones might not necessarily be all that great. And what I mean by that is I know that Toys R Us has one that has like a planchette that's like made out of plastic, and it's kind of fat, and you can put batteries in it so it has a light and everything, so when you put pressure on it the light turns on. I don't like that planchette at all, and I think that it's a lot more difficult for spirit to move it around, or whoever you're contacting to move it around. I think it's not like the best thing. So if anything, maybe some store-bought ones are just not that great, and it's because of the planchette. If you have a planchette that you think is kind of weird and funky, try to like just trade it out with a quarter or whatever, because the quarter will still do the same thing. Can a portal be and stay open when you don't close it properly? Yes. If you don't do the whole closing and then trying the circles thing and whatever and going to goodbye, you're leaving it open, and you're basically leaving a portal open. It'll sit open until you freaking do something about it. But the longer you leave it open, the more things can come through, and I think even the stronger the portal is if you don't close it. So always, after a session, close the doors you've opened. Can you talk to your guardian angel? Some practitioners do use the board to contact their guardian angel. Me, I don't do that. The board, I kind of feel like it's just like the DMV or something. Like a bunch of people are there, just there to do something, and you don't know who you're going to run into because there's just so many people. And I think that's what the board does. Is it opens, and then like there's like a lot of people over there, or spirits or whatever, and in order to make sure you have good spirits come through, you know, direct it to like the good spirits and stuff. But when it comes to guardian angels and stuff like that, I don't use the board for that. I don't like trust that it would be my guardian angel, and I wouldn't want to possibly be talking to a demon thinking that he's over here my guardian angel when he's just playing me. So when it comes to contacting your guardian angel, find a different way. Don't use a Ouija board for it. If there's practitioners out there who do use the board for that and have had good results, please let us know in the comments below and share your knowledge and stuff like that on that. And for some of the other questions I wasn't able to answer because I don't use the board for all kinds of things, please leave the information you guys might have who actually do that in the comments below so that everyone can see it and you can help everybody out. So you guys, that was the last question, and I hope you enjoyed that video. It was really requested, like a lot. Someone was like, they knew that I was supposed to have it up, and they were like, okay, just do that, do the Ouija board video. I do still want to do a questions and answers video on just random witchy questions, so leave that in my ghost story video, and that way I'll be able to you know, answer your questions and whatnot, or you can leave it in here. But if you have any more Ouija board questions, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure you include like Ouija board in there so I know it's for the Ouija board video and not the witchy question video. Another thing I've been wanting to do is probably give everyone like a name. You know, some YouTubers have to where it's like, oh, subscribe and, you know, join this and that family and whatever. I was thinking maybe like doing something like if you subscribe, then you're a part of the pack, like the wolf pack. So subscribe and join the pack, you know, stuff like that. If you guys have any better ideas, let me know in the comments what you would like to be called if you're a subscriber. But yeah, you guys, I'll put all my contacts around and in the description below. I have a second channel that is not necessarily witchy related. If you have any ideas for those videos, please go visit that channel and let me know in the comments what kind of videos you would like to see. Talk to you guys later, and blessed be.